I had just retired when my daughter-in-law called me. The house was quiet that afternoon, the kind of quiet that only comes after a long life of noise and responsibility. Sunlight rested gently on the floor, and my tea had already gone cold beside me. Her voice came through the phone clear and firm. No greeting, no pause. "I'm going to leave my 3 kids with you," she said. "I need to travel. After all, you don't do anything anymore, so you can watch them." Welcome to Auntie Rose Narrates. Before today's story of betrayal and self-discovery, please subscribe and hit like to help these stories be heard. Drop your city or country in the comments. It always warms my heart. Now let's begin. I did not argue. I did not ask where she was going or for how long. I simply smiled, even though my chest felt heavy, and said, "All right." Then I ended the call. The phone stayed in my hand for a long time after that. It felt heavier than it should have. The words "you don't do anything anymore" kept repeating in my head, soft but sharp, like a quiet insult wrapped in a smile. I had worked my whole life. I had raised a son alone. I had buried a husband. I had cleaned hospital floors while others slept and held the hands of strangers as they took their last breath. But now, because I had stopped earning a paycheck, I was suddenly someone who did nothing, sat there in silence and listened to the clock on the wall. Tick, tick. That was when I made a decision. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of dignity. I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. A few days later, she dropped the children off without even coming inside. Suitcase already packed, phone already in her hand. She waved, kissed their heads quickly, and drove away. The children watched her leave. Then they turned and looked at me. 3 small faces, 3 different expressions. And in that moment, I realized this was no longer just about me. Weeks later, when she returned from her trip, something happened that none of us expected. The children did not run to her. They did not smile. They stepped back. And then, one by one, they hid behind me. The silence that followed was so loud it hurt my ears. But to understand why that moment mattered so much, to understand why the children chose me instead of their own mother, I need to take you back. Back to who I am. Back to my son. Back to the quiet ways love can be ignored until it finally speaks. My name is Margaret Okoye. And before I became the grandmother who does nothing, I was many other things. I was a daughter, a wife, a mother, a worker who woke up before sunrise and came home when the streets were quiet again. I was born in a small town in Nigeria, where mornings smelled like dust and warm bread, and evenings were filled with voices calling each other home. My mother taught me early that a woman's strength does not always make noise. She said, "You survive by staying steady, not by being loud." I did not understand those words then, but I carried them with me across an ocean. I came to America when I was young and hopeful. I believed hard work would protect me from everything. In some ways, it did. In other ways, it only taught me how to endure. I met my husband, Samuel, in New York. He was gentle and patient, the kind of man who listened without interrupting. We built a simple life together. No luxury, no shortcuts. Just effort and love. When our son Daniel was born, I felt my heart would burst from joy and fear at the same time. I remember holding him and thinking, this world will not be kind to you, but I will. That became my promise. Samuel died suddenly when Daniel was 12. A stroke. One moment he was there, the next moment he was not. Life does not always explain itself. After the funeral, I did not have time to fall apart. Bills do not wait for grief. Children still need dinner. So I worked. I cleaned hospital floors at night while Daniel slept. I wore gloves that smelled like bleach and hope. Later, I became a caregiver at a nursing home. I learned how fragile people become when they are old and how invisible. I learned patience there. I learned how to speak gently even when I was tired. I learned how to be useful in silence. Daniel grew up watching me work without complaint. He never asked for much. He learned responsibility early. Sometimes I worry he learned it too well. He became an engineer, a good job, a stable life, everything I wanted for him. That is where he met Emily when Daniel first told me about her. His voice sounded lighter than usual. "She's organized," he said. "She plans everything." I smiled because that sounded like someone who would keep him safe. When I met her, she shook my hand firmly and smiled politely. She asked about my accent. She asked about my cooking. She said, "You must be proud of Daniel." I was. When they married, I stood quietly at the wedding and watched them promise a future together. Emily looked confident in her white dress. Daniel looked relieved, like he had found his place. At first, everything felt balanced. They had their first child, Lucas, and I helped when I could. I did not move in. I did not interfere. I only came when asked. Emily thanked me then. She said, "I don't know how you do it." Those words meant more to me than she knew. Then came Ava, and later Noah, 3 children in 6 years. Life became busy for them. I became more present. Not because I demanded it, but because they needed it. I picked up the children from school. I cooked meals that waited quietly in the fridge. I folded laundry the way I always had, careful and neat. I never gave advice unless asked. I never corrected Emily in front of the children. I believed respect grows best when it is not forced. But slowly, something shifted. Emily stopped saying thank you. Then she stopped asking. She started informing. "Can you come tomorrow?" Became, "I need you tomorrow." "I appreciate you" became, "You're free anyway." When I was still working, she respected my time. When I retired, my time became available. The day I told them I had officially retired, Daniel hugged me. Emily smiled and said, "That's great. Now you can finally relax." Relax, that word sounded strange. I was tired, yes. But retirement did not erase who I was. It did not erase my value. At first, I enjoyed small things. Morning tea, walking slowly instead of rushing, listening to birds instead of alarms. But soon, the phone started ringing more. "Can you keep the kids overnight? Can you watch them this weekend? Can you help during spring break?" I said yes. Not because I had nothing to do, but because I loved my grandchildren. Lucas liked to ask questions. He wanted to understand how everything worked. Ava watched quietly and noticed everything. Noah followed me everywhere, holding the edge of my sweater. With me, they felt calm. I did not rush them. I did not raise my voice. I listened. Emily noticed that too. She would say things like, "They behave better with you." But her smile would be tight. Her voice would be flat. Sometimes she corrected me sharply. "Don't give them that. They don't need another snack." I already told them no. I would nod and step back. I did not want conflict. Daniel stayed quiet. He always stayed quiet. There were moments when I felt like furniture in their home, useful, unnoticed, easily moved. Once, Emily laughed and said, "You know, you're lucky. You don't have responsibilities anymore." I smiled politely, but inside, something ached. I had spent my whole life carrying responsibility. Now that I carried it quietly, it no longer counted. The children noticed things adults did not think they noticed. Lucas once asked me, "Grandma, why does mommy talk to you like that?" I told him, "Your mommy is tired." Because children should not carry adult truths. Ava would hold my hand when Emily sounded impatient. Noah would hide behind my legs when voices felt sharp. Still, I said nothing. I believed peace was more important than pride. Then the requests stopped feeling like requests at all. Emily began to plan trips without discussing them. She assumed I would be there. She assumed I would say yes, and then came the call, the one I told you about. The one where she said, "You don't do anything anymore." Those words landed heavier because they were not new. They were just finally spoken. When I hung up the phone that day, I did not cry. I did not shout. I did not call Daniel. I looked around my small living room. The photos on the wall, my husband's picture, Daniel as a child, my grandchildren smiling, and I thought, if I say nothing now, I will disappear completely. So when Emily dropped the children off for her trip, I welcomed them warmly. I hugged them. I cooked their favorite food. I kept my voice gentle. But inside, I promised myself something. I would not argue. I would not complain. I would simply allow truth to reveal itself, because sometimes the strongest lesson is not spoken. It is felt. The first morning after the children came to stay with me, I woke before they did. Old habits do not disappear just because work ends. I stood in the kitchen, listening to the soft hum of the refrigerator, thinking about how easily people decide your value for you. I made breakfast slowly: eggs, toast, warm milk. Not because anyone asked, but because care feels natural to me. When the children woke up, they came out one by one. Lucas rubbed his eyes. Ava moved quietly. Noah ran straight to me and wrapped his arms around my legs. They did not ask where their mother was. They already knew. The days began to find a rhythm. School in the morning, homework in the afternoon, dinner together at the table. At first, everything felt peaceful. Almost too peaceful, but tension does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it slips in quietly, pretending to be normal. Emily called every day, not to ask how the children were, to give instructions, make sure Lucas practices piano. Ava can't have sugar. Noah needs his nap exactly at 1. I listened. I nodded into the phone, even though she could not see me. One afternoon, Lucas asked if he could skip piano practice. He looked tired. His shoulders were slumped. I said, "Let's rest today. We can practice tomorrow." He smiled, relieved. That evening, Emily called. "Did Lucas practice piano?" She asked. I told her the truth. I said he seemed tired, so we rested. There was a pause. Then she said, "I told you he needs to practice every day." Her tone was sharp, not loud, controlled. Like a line being drawn. I apologized. Not because I believed I was wrong, but because peace always seemed easier. But something changed after that. The calls became colder, shorter, more frequent. Emily began asking the children questions directly when she called. "Did Grandma let you watch TV? Did Grandma give you snacks?" The children looked at me when they answered, as if they were checking if honesty was allowed. I felt something twist inside me. I was not trying to replace her. I was not trying to spoil them. I was simply being present. One night, Ava came to my room quietly. She climbed onto the bed and lay beside me. "Grandma," she whispered, "Mommy doesn't like when we talk about you." My heart tightened. I asked gently, "Why do you think that?" She shrugged. "She says you make things too easy." Too easy. I did not know how to explain to a child that. Kindness is often mistaken for weakness. Daniel called once during that first week. Just once. "How's everything?" He asked. I said, "The children are fine." He said, "Good. Thanks, Mom." And that was all. Emily posted pictures online while she traveled, smiling, drinks in hand. Beautiful places. People commented, "Enjoy your freedom. Kids-free vacation." I looked at those pictures late at night when the house was quiet. I wondered if freedom always meant leaving someone else to carry your weight. As days passed, I noticed small changes in the children. Lucas became quieter. He stopped asking questions. Ava watched the phone whenever it rang. She flinched at raised voices on television. Noah clung to me more than before. He cried when I left the room. One afternoon, Emily called while the children were eating. Put me on speaker. She said I did. She asked questions quickly. What did you eat? Did you do homework? Did Grandma follow the rules? The children answered carefully. When the call ended, Lucas pushed his plate away. I don't like when Mommy talks like that, he said softly. I told him, your mommy loves you. But love should not make children anxious. By the second week, I felt like I was walking on thin ice. Every decision felt like a test. If I rested, I was lazy. If I acted, I was interfering. Emily called one evening and said, since you're not working, this is good practice for you. Practice for what? Existing? I laughed softly and said nothing. But inside, I felt myself shrinking. I remembered the nursing home, the way old people were spoken over, the way their lives were reduced to schedules and tasks. I promised myself long ago I would not become invisible. Yet here I was. The children began asking questions that were too big for their age. Why doesn't Mommy stay with us? Why does Mommy sound angry? Are we bad? Those questions hurt more than anything Emily ever said to me. I reassured them. Every time. But reassurance only goes so far when children feel tension in the air. One evening, Ava spilled her drink at dinner. She froze, eyes wide. I'm sorry, she whispered quickly. She expected anger. I cleaned it calmly and said, it's all right. She began to cry. That was when I realized something was deeply wrong. Children do not cry from kindness. They cry from fear. That night, I sat alone in the living room after they went to bed. I thought about calling Daniel. I did not. I knew he would say, Emily is stressed. I knew he would ask me to be patient. I had been patient my whole life. Emily returned earlier than planned for a short visit before leaving again. She walked into my home like she was checking a hotel room. She inspected the fridge, the pantry, the children's bags. Did you wash these clothes separately? She asked. I said yes. She looked at me and said, I just want things done properly. Properly, as if care has only one correct shape. Lucas stood behind me quietly. Ava held Noah's hand. Emily noticed and said sharply, why are you all crowding Grandma? No one answered. Emily laughed lightly. See, they're too attached. That's not healthy. Something broke inside me then, not loudly, but completely. I realized she did not see me as family. She saw me as a service, and services can be criticized without guilt. After she left again, the house felt heavier. But children were quieter. That night, Lucas whispered to me, Grandma, can we stay here forever? I swallowed hard. I said, your home is with your parents. But the words felt thin. Emily extended her trip, then extended it again. Each call felt colder. One night she said, you're lucky I trust you. Lucky. As if trust was a gift she granted. I looked at the sleeping children and thought, if I am so lucky, why does this feel like punishment? The turning point began forming quietly during those weeks. Not in anger. In clarity, I began to understand that silence can teach lessons words never will. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped apologizing. I simply cared for the children the way I always had, calm, steady, present. And the children responded. They laughed more. They slept better. They spoke freely. They felt safe. Emily noticed. Her calls became tense. Why are they so calm with you? What are you telling them? I said, nothing. Because love does not need explanations. The distance between us grew. Not loud, just firm. I knew something was coming. I could feel it the way you feel rain before it falls. And when Emily finally called to say she was coming back for good, when she said, make sure they're ready, I felt no fear, only stillness, because I knew the truth had already taken root. And when she walked through my door days later, and the children stepped back and hid behind me without thinking, that was not rebellion, that was instinct. But what happened next, what was said, and what was finally understood, that belongs to the next part of the story. The morning Emily returned, the house felt different before anyone spoke. Even the air seemed heavier, like it was holding its breath. I woke early, not because I was anxious, but because my body already knew something important was about to happen. The children were unusually quiet that morning. Lucas sat at the table without asking questions. Ava folded and unfolded a napkin over and over again. Noah stayed close to my side, his small fingers gripping my sleeve. I made breakfast the same way I always did, slowly, carefully, as if routine could protect us. When the sound of a car stopped outside, all three children froze. Noah's grip tightened. Ava's eyes moved to the door. Lucas straightened his back like someone preparing for bad news. The door opened, and Emily walked in with her suitcase rolling behind her. She looked rested, tanned, confident. She smiled when she saw them. "Hi, babies," she said brightly. No one moved. For a brief moment, she laughed awkwardly and said, "What's wrong with you all?" Then she stepped forward. That was when it happened. Lucas took a step back. Ava followed him. Noah pressed himself fully against my leg and hid his face. They did not plan it. They did not look at each other for permission. Their bodies simply chose safety. The silence that followed was deep and sharp. It filled every corner of the room. Emily stopped smiling. "What is this?" she asked, her voice tight. No one answered. She looked at me. Her eyes narrowed slightly, not with anger yet, but with confusion and offense. "Why are they acting like this?" she asked. I did not rush to speak. I had spent a lifetime filling silence to make others comfortable. This time, I let it stay. Lucas spoke first. His voice was small but steady. "We want to stay with Grandma." Emily laughed once, sharply. "That's ridiculous," Ava whispered. "It's calmer here." Emily's face changed then. Not angry. Wounded. "What are you telling them?" she asked me. I looked at her and answered honestly. "Nothing." She scoffed. "That's not possible." I gently placed my hand on Noah's back. He was shaking. Emily dropped her bag and crossed her arms. "This is unacceptable," she said. "You've made them dependent on you." I felt something rise inside me. Not anger, clarity. "They are children," I said softly. "They respond to how they feel." Emily turned to them again. "Come here," she said, her tone firmer. Now. No one moved. The room felt like it was leaning inward. That was when Emily raised her voice. Not shouting, but sharp. "I am your mother." Noah whimpered. I stepped slightly forward without thinking. Not to challenge her, to protect them. Emily stared at me. "You're crossing a line," she said. I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. "I think I am." The words surprised both of us. I took a breath. My heart was beating steadily. This was not fear. This was truth finally finding space. "You left them with me because you said I do nothing," I continued quietly. "But while you were gone, I listened to them. I saw them. I stayed." Emily opened her mouth, then closed it. Lucas spoke again. "Mom, you're always angry." Her eyes snapped to him. "I am not," Ava said, barely audible. "You don't listen." That was when Emily's face crumbled. Just for a second, she looked at me again. "You turned them against me?" I shook my head. "No," I said gently. "You were just gone long enough for them to feel the difference." Daniel walked in then. He had been at work. He stopped short when he saw the scene. "What's going on?" he asked. Emily spoke quickly. "They won't come to me. She's interfering." Daniel looked at the children, then at me. "Mom?" he asked quietly. I met his eyes. I did nothing but care for them. Lucas looked up at his father. "Dad, please don't make us go." Daniel's shoulders dropped. That was the moment he finally saw it. Not through words. Through his children's fear, Emily turned on him. "Say something." Daniel swallowed. "Emily," he said slowly, "they're scared." She shook her head. "This is manipulation." "No," he said. "This is real." Emily sat down heavily on the couch. Her confidence drained away. "I'm exhausted," she whispered. "I do everything." I did not argue. I said, "You do many things. But presence is not a task you can schedule." The room stayed quiet. After a long moment, Emily looked at me. Her voice was smaller now. "Why didn't you say anything before?" I answered honestly, "Because you never asked." That truth landed softly but deeply. The children stayed close to me the rest of the evening. Emily watched them with new eyes. Uncomfortable eyes. Later that night, Daniel came to me quietly in the kitchen. "I didn't know," he said. I nodded. "You were busy." He lowered his head. That night, the children slept peacefully. For the first time in weeks, so did I. The lesson had already been learned. Not through punishment. Through absence and contrast. Emily never said, "You do nothing again," but what followed after that moment. How our family changed. How healing came slowly and imperfectly. That belongs to the final part of the story. After that day, nothing returned to how it was before. But not everything broke either. Some things simply shifted, slowly and painfully, into a more honest shape. The first change was silence. Not the heavy silence from before, but a careful one. Emily spoke less in the days that followed, as if she was afraid her words might cause the children to pull away again. She stayed home more. Not because she suddenly knew how to be present, but because she was trying. Trying often looks awkward before it looks sincere. The children watched her closely. They did not rush back into her arms. Trust, once shaken, does not run at walks. I stayed quiet too. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. I had already said what needed to be said. Daniel began to change in small ways. He started coming home earlier. He sat at the table longer. He listened. One evening, he asked Lucas about school and waited for the full answer. Not just the short one. I watched from the kitchen and said nothing. Emily struggled the most with Ava. Ava had always been observant, always quiet. Now she was distant. Emily would sit beside her and ask questions, and Ava would answer politely, but without warmth. It hurt Emily, and I could see that hurt changing her. One night, Emily came to me after the children were asleep. She stood in my kitchen, unsure of where to place her hands. "I didn't realize," she said finally. I did not interrupt. "I thought providing was enough," she continued. "I thought structure was love." I nodded slowly. "Structure helps," I said. "But love is felt, not organized." She looked down. "I was afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of failing. Afraid of losing control." I understood that fear. Fear can make people rigid, and rigidity can look like strength. "I didn't mean to make you feel useless," she said quietly. I looked at her then. "Really looked. I was never useless," I said gently. "I was just quiet." That night, Emily cried. Not loudly, just softly, like someone finally allowing themselves to be human. The next morning, she apologized to the children. Not perfectly, not with the right words, but she tried. "I'm sorry I was gone so much," she said. "I didn't know how lonely that felt for you." Lucas listened carefully. Ava nodded once. Noah crawled into her lap. That was the beginning. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But beginning. Weeks passed. Then months. Emily stopped planning trips without discussion. She started asking instead of assuming. She still struggled. She still slipped into old habits. But now, when the children pulled back, she noticed Daniel became more present too. He stopped hiding behind peace. He began choosing it. One evening, he said to Emily, "We need to slow down." And she listened. My role changed after that. I was no longer the automatic solution. I was family again. Sometimes Emily asked for my help. Sometimes she did not. Either way, I felt respected. The children began to move freely between us. They hugged Emily without hesitation. They still came to me for comfort. No one competed anymore. One afternoon, Ava sat beside me on the couch and said, "Mommy listens now." That was enough. Emily never fully became soft. That was not who she was. But she became aware. Awareness is the start of kindness. As for me, I learned something too. I learned that silence protects peace, but it can also hide pain. I learned that dignity sometimes requires gentle boundaries. And I learned that love does not need to be loud to be powerful. One day, Emily thanked me. Not for watching the children, not for helping. She said, "Thank you for staying." I smiled. I had never left. Years will pass. The children will grow. They may forget the details of that time, but they will remember how it felt safe, seen, heard. And that is what stays with a person for life. I'm retired now. Yes, but I do not do nothing. I listen. I hold space. I love. And sometimes that is the most important work of all. Looking back now, I understand something I did not know then. People do not always mean to hurt you when they diminish you. Sometimes they're simply afraid of losing their place. Emily was afraid. Daniel was tired. The children were confused, and I was quiet. But quiet does not mean weak. It means patient. The lesson I taught was not intentional in the way people imagine lessons. I did not plan it. I did not design it. I simply showed up fully. When others were absent, that was enough. Life does not always require confrontation. Sometimes it requires consistency and love, real love. Always reveals the truth in the end. If there is one thing I want you to remember, it is this. Your worth does not disappear when your role changes. You do not become invisible when you stop producing. You become essential in different ways, and those who truly see you will learn that lesson, even if it takes silence to teach it.